All right, so we're starting this one.
Yes.
All right, so what's the date today?
I have no idea. Is it the 12th?
Nah, it is the 12th because 275 was yesterday, I think. Did you see who won?
I only know what happened in the main fight, in the title fight.
Yeah, surprise, Valentina won, but it was like split decision.
Really?
Yeah, so
I didn't know that. All I knew was that Prochaska
tapped him.
beat Teixeira, but
Tapped
I listened
over,
to Chael talk about it. Chael said that Teixeira was beating him the entire fight for the most part. And then in the fifth round, in the last 30 or 45 seconds, Prochaska tapped him.
Yeah, kind of makes those first 4 rounds not even worth it then, huh?
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
You'd rather have lost the first 4 rounds if that's how it's going to end.
All right, so... All right, it's a different plan for part 6 of 6 for this little conversation, narcissistic, Odyssey, not podcast, need to immortalize myself, fear of death, all that kind of crap. Mm-hmm. Especially since I'm probably going to have surgery or surgeries coming up here pretty soon. Definitely at least one. And what we've normally been doing is, talking shit about the stupid things that I've done. And they've kind of had a theme. Well, the stuff that we have left right now is really some sad shit. So we've been able to get away with, watching something kind of banal while we do this to satisfy our ADD and to whatever. But I figure let's watch something a little bit more entertaining so that we can be super all over the place. Like, ooh, shiny, ooh, squirrel, whatever. Because this is like really sad shit.
Another early UFC. This is Augusta, Georgia.
Right, and I picked it because it's, there's a symmetry. We're in Georgia. We're in the north part of Georgia. Augusta's in the south part. So
yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's totally by accident. I just found the first one that was a full fight, so fuck it. Whatever. All right, it's June 12th, 2022. Michael and Miles coming to you recorded and sober from North Georgia. Gonna do what we've done and talk about stupid things from my past because you're too much of a coward to talk about yours, at least now.
No, I'm just a control freak, and I like to have control over my own projects.
You can't control a recording once it's been recorded.
I know, and I don't like to have things that I come up with or pull out of my ass on the spot immortalized in the same way that writing would be, because I can make sure that my writing is good, whereas the things that come out of my mouth, I often don't even agree with them anymore 5 seconds later.
Pretty much.
So, It's not so much that. I don't even know why you want me to help you with your project, because I'm such a control freak that it's hard for me to understand that level of desire for group project.
It's funny that you actually took to the 6th session for you to even get to that point. That's been part of this since the beginning. Because you can't play well with others, and you have to be able to play well with others in life.
To some extent, yeah.
Yeah. And because you have a fundamental fucking, serious block on that shit.
I'm getting better at it.
Yeah, I know, yeah. D- is a lot better than F, of course.
No, the 5th recording that we did was good.
Yeah, that was, and we totally went in a different direction, and you were in no small part responsible for that. But what we're going to do is watch something a little bit more. So to all the listener out there, it's probably going to seem like we're going to be trailing off. Is that a fucking word? Whatever.
It's definitely not.
It's not a word. But there's, see?
Tank Abbott versus Vitor Belfort.
Right.
Vitor Belfort is going to destroy Tank Abbott. Because Vitor Belfort was very, very scary back then. Tank Abbott is also scary.
Right.
Like, he could bench press 600 pounds.
Right.
He's a very scary man.
Yeah.
But Vitor Belfort was short. Hey, it's Joe Rogan with hair.
Yes, it is, Joe Rogan. Oh, yeah, we're watching UFC 13.
Dothan now? It's not Dothan. It's Augusta, Georgia.
It's Augusta, yeah. All right, so, yeah, for anybody who's listening, yeah, watch UFC 13. You'll see some cool stuff that is not in any way like UFC is today or any MMA. Anyway, let's get to the really sad shit. That's probably going to be the title of this. Is just really sad stuff about my life you shouldn't listen to. Okay. And we're going to pare it down to just like 3 things.
Okay.
All right, so let's... And be forewarned, we're going to trail off as opposed to strailing off. Laws of the octagon. No biting, eye gouging, or fish hooking. Ref can restart fight. 12-minute per round. Semifinals, finals, 3-minute OT. Main event, 15 minutes to... fuck you.
What, did they introduce the ref can restart the fight as a law of the octagon after UFC 5 was a total snoozer?
Probably.
Okay. So...
Let's just start.
This is so confusing. I can't actually tell what's crossed out and what's not.
No.
Is this one crossed out or is this one still...
It would be not even legible on the paper that we're... Y'all hear that? Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
So we've got 3 things.
Yeah,
left.
this is going to be a short one, probably.
Okay.
All right. So...
Let's see. I'm just going to go from top to bottom for once.
Oh. Okay.
Unless you have a different order in
I
mind.
don't give a shit.
Don't we try to end on a happy note?
Oh, there is no happy note with this. The happy note is when this thing is over. These are things that probably should have been interjected into other stories, but for whatever reason, symmetry, time constraint, the fact that I don't know what I'm doing at all, and this is just some weird non-podcast, vain, narcissistic attempt at immortality. Mm-hmm. They got left out. Or they didn't fit. Or fuck, I don't give a shit. This is just slice of life, recording, blah, blah, blah. And as always, it's your Auntie Courtney's fault because she recommended.
Okay, excuse me?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
It's very attractive. Why don't you have a girlfriend again?
Because I don't go outside except to pace around on the deck ranting about epistemic logic and to run.
And to play with the dog.
And to play with the dog.
Right. Okay, so... Where were we?
Okay, so... Earphones cop.
Okay, so I think it might be best if I tell this story that did not happen to me. This was somebody else, all right? Because there's a few stories that I'm never going to fucking tell. But this one, I think it's okay, but I'm not quite sure. So let's start at the beginning. This one's kind of a long one, all right? The scene is south side of Stockton at this place where a lot of people used to go and gamble, do drugs, sell drugs, drink, alcohol, party in general. It was just south of 8th Street, or no, just north of 8th Street. It wasn't 6th Street. That was another fucking place. That's actually where Toby died. But this was over at the other place. This Space Cadet's house. And there were these people that going down there to party. Now, the next day, 3 of these people were getting on a plane to go visit family. All right? And one was going to be their driver. All right? So it makes perfect sense to, instead of, getting a good night's sleep and pack up and all that, no, go fucking party and gamble all night and then rush like hell to Oakland Airport, right? From Stockton.
That makes sense.
Right. So that's what happened. And that night was live. I mean, every night like that was usually, from what I was told, usually pretty rough and rugged and, bunch of shit that belongs in a damn Sons of Anarchy episode, right? But this night was a little weirder, It's not unnatural to see other things than money inside the pot when you're gambling, like shooting dice or whatever, whether it be craps or 3 dice or whatever. But man, that night there were guns and knives, car keys, dope, everything. Just for some reason, everybody was just kind of on a different level. Maybe it was too much drugs, maybe it wasn't enough, maybe who knows. But it was a wild night, and nothing bad happened. Things got a little heated, escalated quickly, as they say, but nothing really bad happened. And then, bada beep, bada boop, 8, 9 o'clock in the morning rolls around. Time to go to the airport. Oh, okay. Load up everybody and go to the airport. Well, the fucker in question that was playing taxi, we'll call him Mickey. Mickey drives these people down. Most everybody's tired and coming down and all that shit. So, except for one, she never did any of that shit. But everybody else was coming down and tired and all that shit. So it said their goodbyes and blah blah blah. Get on the plane, go. Well, Mickey crashes out. He parks his truck and just fades for a few hours. Right now, he wakes up, and it's several hours later. He's got to pay a ungodly parking fee because he parked in hourly parking. Right?
Yeah.
So he gets out, uses one of his fraudulently acquired credit cards to pay that,
Of course.
and zips back to Stockton. Okay. Now, a few weeks earlier, somebody had got his truck, right? Or not got his truck. Somebody had broken his truck and stole his stereo, and he hadn't got the cash or the connections yet to put a new deck in, so he's using an old Walkman. We didn't tell this story already, did we?
No.
All right.
I don't think I've heard this one.
All right, so this fucker, he's listening to something, whatever, driving along. Now, he's sober, but he's also, an asshole at the time and didn't really have much regard for himself, let alone other people's safety. And so he may or may not have been, crossing over the double yellow line or whatever. And this guy pulls up, speeds up, cuts around in front, or cuts around to the side of him, apparently, and tries to get his attention. Mickey finally looks over and was like, "Fuck do you want?" And the guy goes, "Hey, watch where the fuck you're going, man." And it's like, blah, 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 something like that. Mickey answered back with something like, go fuck yourself, watch out, someone's gonna fucking run you over or shoot you. I don't know. Mickey was kind of a dick, right? Well, Mickey fucking speeds up, takes off. He has no interest in that. He was going to go do something. I don't know what he normally does, but the people that he normally does that with, most of them are gone to see family, thousands of miles away for a few weeks. So he settles in on, maybe I should just go spend time with my girlfriend. By the way, Mickey was kind of a piece of shit boyfriend, too. So he goes and sees his chick, and he ends up staying the night. Much to the chagrin of, her parents. Her parents did not like him. No, almost no parents liked him. But it wasn't, a woman beater or a rapist or anything like that. He was just a degenerate, So he leaves early-ish the next morning, like noon, 1 o'clock. And goes and plays around, does what he does, goes and gambles a little bit, whatever. And he ends up going home. Well, not home, but to where he was crashing, which was with the people that went on the vacation to go see their parents. Well, he gets there, and it's a court that you got to pull in, and he pulls down the court, and he sees cop cars parked at where he's staying. That means stop, reverse, go away. He doesn't see him until he's halfway down the street, and then another cop pulls behind him and blocks his way out. He's like, oh, fuck. So he goes in there, and there's 3 cops there at the house already, plus the one that's coming up. Three officers, 2 cop cars at the house already, and three cops, and then 1 officer in 1 cop car behind him. They all pull up, and guess who was one of those cops?
The earphones cop?
Yeah, that's a shitty guess based on nothing.
I have no idea.
The guy in the other car, yeah. Apparently that guy is a cop. May still be a cop, I don't know. Probably not, but... And they proceed to question and handcuff and bounce him off the hood of a police car a couple times. But the funny thing is there's no proof, And this motherfucker never had a license, right? And at that time had a lot of contraband, shall we say, in his vehicle. But at this particular point in time, he had recently got his shit together enough to where he got some insurance and got his license back temporarily, So, and the tags were technically valid. So they couldn't get him on anything like that. All they had was his word. The cop who was off duty and no one else was there. And all Mickey had to do was stick to his story. And after all that, and all that embarrassing, all that shit, they let him go. But that fucker followed him for the rest of his days in Stockton. Pulled him over every fucking chance he got. Even arrested him one more time for DUI. And one time tried to arrest him for a DUI when he was leaving a friend's house at 3-4 o'clock in the morning because his friend's boyfriend came home. This chick, he didn't know that she had a boyfriend or a husband or something like that, so he had to do the mad dash out the window, and he's barely got any clothes on. And they made him. He had just had shorts on, and made him get out, walk the line, do the finger test, all that kind of stuff, blow in the little whistler, the breathalyzer type thing they have on, or they used to have for patrolmen and patrolwomen. But there was no alcohol in the system at that point, But yeah, that cop made his life a fucking living hell.
For how long?
Until he left Stockton. Wasn't long after that. Or actually until he got rid of his truck, because the guy didn't recognize the vehicle. But he recognized that truck because, believe it or not, there wasn't too many people that had a truck that similar. Especially ones that played, when he got his system back up and running, they would play it as loud as possible all the time. But
Probably would have helped to play the music quieter.
yeah, but what the fuck do you have the system for then? I mean, come on. You know, it's not really that great a story, but it's definitely a fucked up one. Pretty sad. And it's a better story than this match we're watching. This is actually pretty good. Or it was. So on to sad tale number 2. Well, the moral of that story is don't be a dick. Which is...
Because some cop might hold a grudge against you and stalk you and try to arrest you on bullshit charges, and also charges that are not bullshit whenever there's an occasion for it.
Right, because, I've met some excellent law enforcement officers in my day, and some that are less than excellent, and
John McCarthy just fucking grabbed this judoka's gi and pulled him back up to his feet.
Yeah, that was pretty much a boss move there, wasn't it? Get the fuck off your back, dude. Yeah, that guy looks like Joe Rogan, the drug addict version. Like the recovering alcoholic version.
He doesn't look so good right now.
No. It's whoever's fighting Shamrock in UFC 13. I don't know.
This guy is Guy Metzger.
Guy Metzger.
He looks like a Shamrock, though.
Kinda. No, not the guy with the hair. The guy without the hair.
Oh, jeez, he just took one right on the chin.
Yeah, he did.
And then he's like saying, "Oh,
give me more, give me more."
Yeah,
Whatever.
he did that because he got hurt.
Yeah, probably. All right, next one. Let's get through this bullshit. Because I don't even really want to do this one, but I'm committed to the whole 6 of 6 type thing. So
6 seasons in a movie.
Community reference.
Yeah.
Fatality.
So the second one is the only time you ever had to do time. Was I not supposed to say you there? Was I supposed to say Mickey?
No. Because I can. Fuck you, stupid motherfucker. You just fucked up everything.
You just edited that. I'll edit that part out, right?
No, you dumb fuck. All right, so no, this is me. This was some drunken bullshit that. Just some drunken escapade I got into. Ended up with a fucking battery charge or assault and battery charge, some shit like that in Cocoa County. And I've been very, very fortunate, very blessed, mainly because of the interesting role models that I've had in life who explained certain things, like make sure you always have a pay stub or access to a pay stub no matter how much money you have. That way, if law enforcement ever questions you why you have so much money, it's I have a job and I save my money. I'm going to pay a bill. I'm going to buy a car right now, officer. This, that, and the other. The other thing is to always make sure your taillights work. Always make sure you've got proper tags, because you don't get arrested for the body in the trunk. You get arrested because you fucking had a broken taillight and they pulled you over and they found a body in the trunk. Theoretically speaking. Just saying. These are life lessons I've already taught you. You understand that. And how you put the tags on the car and you have to cut them and all that. So people don't come by and pop them off. Yeah. Stupid things like that. Things you can do with the vents, for, hiding shit. Wrapping things tinfoil of coffee. Yeah. Anyway. I had gotten pretty arrogant because things were going pretty well for me. And, I was making a little bit of money and I don't know, I was 19, 20, something like that. Was dating a lot and had a decent vehicle with a decent sound system and was figuring out this whole credit thing and how I can make it work for me, more or less. More on that later. But I was hanging around with some people from my past or from high school, and that was the last time I ever did that. Got into a little bit of a scuffle and I thought it was over at that point. Oh, next thing I knew, I'm getting charged with battery or some shit like that. I was like, what the fuck is this shit? You know? So I blew it off, warrant for arrest, all that kind of stuff. And I was like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. So one of the chief things, the main things that all the more colorful people in my family used to impart to me, beyond the whole pay stub and make sure your license and registration and all that is up to date and your car is fine. Don't draw attention to yourself. One of the things they made sure to impart was have a lawyer. Don't trust a public defender at all. Well, this one time I decided, no, fuck it. I'm going to go with a PD. I want to save some of the money that I'm making right now, right? Yeah. Well, fuck. I met with a public defender like 6-7 times. He did not want to be in the same fucking county with me, and I don't even think it was personal. He's just overworked and underpaid. His first deal, he came at me with something like, well, they were offering 5 years, and I'm like, 5 fucking years of what? I mean, it sounds worse than the bullshit I had to go through in Oklahoma a few years later. But I was like, dude, this was just a scuffle. And I'm admitting all this shit. My fucking PD is not on my side. And he goes, we can do this, we can do that. And they get it down to something like 90 days. And I'm like, I'm not going to fucking jail for 90 days. Fuck that shit. I've got, it's like, and all I'm thinking about, I'm not worried about going to county. What I'm worried about is I don't want to fucking I don't want to be in jail.
Apparently you get what you pay for.
Well, yeah, because jail sucks. And I never had any intention of going to prison. But I was doing my damnedest to stay out of jail. And except for, having to stay overnight because of, drunken disorderly or DUI or, a dust up or something, I'd never had to spend really any time in custody. Largely because I got fucking lawyers, and lied, cheated, stole whatever I could to get the retainer money for these fuckers. It's amazing what they can do with that. Once they have that retainer, it's amazing. Yeah. You start doing that payment stuff and they drag their feet. You give them several $1,000s up front. Doesn't matter how they get it, cash, check, credit card. Now, those motherfuckers go to work. Motion this, dismiss that. It's like, oh, it's like wizardry,
Yeah, that makes our legal system sound fair.
Efficient, yes. Yeah. So
this judoka is trying to pull Guy Metzger's underwear off.
Yeah, it's not really working, is it?
He's getting smashed.
Yes, it is.
And I think his whole strategy was just, I'm gonna get in close enough for the trip, and then it's all over for the other guy who happens to be named Guy, and
right.
That just never happened.
No.
But anyways, yeah.
Back on point. Right. So I finally, he for some reason, maybe he was just tired of dealing with my ass, but he gets it down to something like a month. And he's like, this is the absolute best. And he's getting irritated at me. Right. And I'm like, what the fuck is this guy's problem? Right?
He's not getting paid. That's his problem.
Right. Well, it's usually he's probably used to people just going, fuck it, fine, whatever. And it's like they can give you the option of doing that work shit, community service, whatever. Now, the problem with community service is you got to fucking pay for it.
What?
Yeah, you got to pay, and then you work. You're free. You don't have to go to jail, but you got to show up to a place and do the fucking work, serve your penance or whatever. And then, in this particular instance, in some cases, it's kind of like they do that for like Honor Farm, or they used to.
How much do you have to pay? Is it by the hour?
back then it was by the week, by the day, and by the week. Now I was living in San Juan. I was living in San Joaquin County, and so I knew what the rates were there. Something like $40 or $50 a week. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'll just pay that. and not even thinking about any kind of like civil case that was gonna fucking, you know, hit me later, you know, in restitution that I would have to fucking deal with and all that. But I get down, and well, this happened in Cocoa County, in Contra Costa County. Well, Contra Costa County is different prices, and it was like 100 and something a week, you know. And I was like, well, fuck that shit, you know, I'm not paying that. And so I asked my cousins, I asked everybody. It's like, hey, can you drive me? You know, I gotta go. I need a ride somewhere. And they were like, what's wrong with your truck? And I said, I gotta go to jail. And everybody said they would, and then everybody's like, no, fucking bailed on me, right? So guess who I had to fucking call to drive me to jail?
I don't know.
Yeah, well, I'll give you a hint. He's got, or he had, a very similar name to mine.
Okay.
So I call my dad, and he is, he's oddly enough not very happy about it, about the task that I'm offering or asking him to perform.
Oh, come on.
I know, right? The fucking nerve, right? You know, his firstborn son asked him, "Hey, Dad, what are you doing tomorrow? I need you to drop me off at jail."
God.
It's like, dude, come on, you're not going to do anything anyway. You're just going to, run your business and raise your family and all that shit. But he does it. He comes through. Now, this is in Martinez. Kind of relative to, people in California don't they know where this is. But other places around the world, he had to drive from Tracy, which is, I don't know, well over an hour drive to Martinez and drop me off at Contra Costa County Jail. And they're expecting me to come down there and sign up for the community service, the work program. And they're like, no. And it's like, oh, okay. So he drops me off, and they frisk me and all that, take me into custody. And I go to jail that night. Mike heads home. And he would later tell me that he turned on the radio, and he never turns on the radio. But he heard that old, 60 song or whatever, I fought the law and the law won on his way back. He always thought that was funny.
Can we just take a second to appreciate the alliteration of Contra Costa County Jail? And can you even imagine if they have a community college there?
They do.
Contra Costa County
They do.
Community
I
College.
played against them in college, in football.
The quintuple C.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, it's not that cool, dude.
I don't know. I thought that it was something.
Yeah, it's definitely something. Okay.
I actually know who these people are.
Yeah, I know, right? That's why I kind of picked this one.
Ensign Inoue.
And Hoist Alger.
Anyway.
Anyway.
So.
Oh no, I'm in jail the first night, and they're in the fucking holding tank, and I know this one old boy there from around the way. This nut. He's in there awaiting trial for like 7 attempted. He blew up a store. All right.
Jesus.
Yeah, and he's just rough looking guy. He's half white, half black, with like piercing blue eyes, like really pale blue eyes. I forget his name. It was like fucking Marcus or Mark or something like that. I can't remember now. But he's just this intense fucker, right? And he ended up being my fucking cellmate that night. And just constantly talking about what wasn't going to happen, for the rest of his life, And because I bring up movies or I bring up, women or music or whatever. It's like, yeah, I won't fucking see that movie. I won't see that.
Jesus, that's depressing.
Yeah, right. So I was like, oh shit. So this is after we did, the TB test, because they do that whenever you go to jail. And so we get in there, boom, bunk down. Luckily, we were both fucking gassed out, so we both crashed. And I thought I was just going to have to spend, a few weeks there. Well, come to find out, fuck no, man. Next morning, roll it up, and I'm like, cool, am I out? No, you're being transferred. To fucking where? They put a gang of us on this fucking bus to Richmond. All right? Now, Richmond to Martinez is not very far, but it's also not fucking Martinez, you know? Which is where the only people who know where I'm at are, that's where they think I am.
And you don't have your pager, I'm assuming.
Oh, fuck no, I don't have shit. I got the t-shirt, boxers, flip-flops, and fucking, is it orange or blue? I cannot remember. Anyway.
So at some point, nobody knows who you are, so you're going to have to tell somebody, hey, come pick me up in Richmond.
In Richmond,
Why
yeah.
are you in Richmond? Don't ask.
Right. Okay. So we get there, you know, they get you, you know, shackled and handcuffed and all that and chained to everybody else. You get on the bus, and it's just this big indignation, right? Because you're on a jail bus, and they got the wire up over there, so you can't open the windows really, but you can still see everybody out there smoking, going to McDonald's, you know, actually being free. And even though I wasn't going to prison, I wasn't even really going to be in jail very long, it's still, fuck this shit, you know? Seeing everybody out there, seeing some hot chick, you know? I mean, I just got laid a couple days earlier, but it was still like, fuck, you know? You get there, and it's kind of nice. It's kind of pretty.
Really?
Yeah.
What, from the outside?
From the outside, from the inside, it's clean, all that kind of stuff. They stick me in my fucking, in my pod, and I'm in intake. I'm not in GP yet. And I'm like, okay, it's not protective. It's some kind of intake. And they got us kind of segregated by race or affiliation. And so they stick me in with this other white guy, this tweaker who's about 6'4", weighs about 145 pounds. Now, he's been in there about 6 months, and he's that big. And they get you your ID tag, and it's got a picture of you on there. And his picture was just him beat to shit. He's a total tweaker, right? Beat to shit, weighing like 110, 115 pounds, something like that.
Jeez.
And even still, this fucker, you know, he's obviously off the dope and all that, but man, he just wants to talk, non-stop and everything. And I'm just like,
his circuits are fried.
oh man. And he just wanted, well, he's fucking bored. And then I find out why. You're in these pods 23/7. It's lockdown 23/7. It's not solitary because they let you out for an hour to watch TV, stretch your legs, go over to they had a community razor or clippers to where you could, you know, cut your hair or, you know, do your beard up or whatever, take a shower, all that shit. But only around the little common area, which the first thing I fucking did every day was boom, straight to the showers because there were only like 4 of them. Because seriously, you don't have commissary yet. That's where you buy shit, you know, toothbrush, deodorant, and all that. So you don't have fucking deodorant. And you're in a room that's I don't know 6 by 8 by 9, you know, 2 bunks, sink, toilet, and for some reason something that resembles a desk, which is just a piece of wood that comes out from the wall and a chair, and this tiny little window that's like 4 inches wide and about 24 inches tall and about 3 inches thick, obscure glass. Obscure is like that shit you see in bathrooms, older bathrooms, to where you can't see through it, but it's translucent.
Yeah.
You know? So you can't see shit, but these like faint images of, that's a tree. Oh, was that a bird? You know?
God,
so for 23 hours, you've got to fucking make up whatever. I think I read, I don't know, about 4 or 5 books while I was in there. We would talk with people through the vents, sometimes rap, sometimes sing. And then, like, like 4 or 5 days in, he's asking me, no shit, this was like 3 days in, right? I'm already on like book 2 or book 3. you know. And because you could get books during the 23 or the 1 hour you were out, they had books you could get.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, my cellmate asked me, is like, hey man, you know how to fight? And I'm like, oh fuck. I'm gonna get my ass kicked in jail. And I was like, what? You know, and I'm not worried, but it's like, man, I just want to fucking be anywhere but here. You know, I've been smooth. I've been, you know, not fucking, not fucking with anybody, not doing, and nobody wanted any trouble anyway. They knew where they were going. Either they were going to general population, or they were waiting trial, or they were short timers like me. They were just in for, you know, a few days or a few weeks or whatever. So nobody was really itching to do anything stupid, and it was county. You know, it's not fucking. It wasn't San Quentin. It wasn't fucking Folsom. It was fucking, you know, Richmond or whatever county jail. Anyway, and I'm like, yeah, why? And he's like, teach me something. Teach you what? What do you know? And I tell him, I said, I know how to wrestle, I know how to box a little, I know Eskrima. And he's like, what the fuck is that? Is that Vietnamese shit? And I said, no, it's Filipino. He's all, yeah, the sticks, right? I said, yeah, he's all, that's the shit that Bruce Lee. I said, yeah, he did do that. He's dead now, but he's like, yeah. And so we go through a few things, and it helped pass the time. Not sure if I was supposed to do that, but fuck it. Who gives a shit, you know? And all in all, it really wasn't that bad of an experience, you know? Because, you know, the fucking trustees would bring you your food, breakfast, lunch, and dinner you ate in your pod, you know? The smell was not that great. And the food ain't nothing but fucking cafeteria starch and, you know, corn dogs and tater tots and that kind of shit.
Ugh.
But and it's food, right? And
probably being a short timer helped.
Shit. Yeah. And the routine was just that, you know, read, spar a little bit, talk with fuckers in events, skin out as soon as the fucking pods opened at, I don't know, 12 o'clock, or not 12 o'clock, 2 o'clock or 11 a.m., something like that, 2 p.m., something like that. Go get a shower, and then head to the fucking couch and see if we could catch Animaniacs. Because that's the time they let us out. Animaniacs was on. And just a bunch of grown men watching fucking cartoons, you know. Orange. I think the colors were orange. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they were orange. Anyway. So, I'm like, I'm supposed to be in there for like a month, right? On day 6, at 4 in the morning, bam, 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 bam. Roll it up, Borge. Huh? Oh, shit, that means go home. Shit. My fucking cellmate looks at me, fucker. You know, he's like, have fun, man. And he was in there for another few months, right?
Oh.
But he was getting out. That he'd already been to court and all that kind of shit, like me. But he had a little bit longer sentence, obviously. And that was like at 4:30. Well, about 7:30, you know, right when breakfast is coming, they finally decide to come and open the door and let me out. So I'm waiting, you know, just fucking jittering for 2-3 hours. And I missed breakfast. Then you got to go change, and they escort you in. You change and all this kind of stuff. And then they escort you out, and they're also letting out women too. So, and who knows, man? I don't know what they look like, but they were the best looking women I'd ever seen. You know? And I talked to one of them and got her number, but nothing ever came of it. I think, and we were just so happy because her ride was coming to get her. I didn't know how I was getting home, And she's all, do you live in the Oak? And I said, no, I live out in Stockton. And she's like, oh. And just gave me a hug and kissed my cheek. And said, call me. And fucking, yeah, nothing ever came. We were just happy to not be in jail, right? I don't know how long she was in. I'd only been in there a week. You know? And so I call everybody, try and get a ride. Man, don't nobody call me back. Most people I know didn't have cell phones, so I'd call their home phone, or I'd call the pager. But the only reason, well, not the only reason, but I was at a payphone that did not accept incoming calls. That was the thing they started to do around this, actually a few years earlier. But, to curb criminal occurrences, I guess, activity. So there was only one phone call left to make. And guess who that was to?
The guy with the name that's similar to yours?
The guy with the name that's similar to mine, yes.
Senior.
So I had to call my dad to not only take me to jail, but to pick me up from a different jail, even farther away from where he was. And he did it. And
I'm sure he was a little happier to do that than he was to take you to jail.
I don't know that he was happy about the entire fucking ordeal. But I think, yeah, it's kind of an FD minus thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. At least you got your name right on the SAT thing,
Yeah.
No, he was surprisingly cool about it. Not surprisingly. He was, for all his faults, he was actually a pretty good dude. And he came through for me there. But moral of the story is, get a fucking lawyer.
And I love how, because you actually had the money to pay for a lawyer that time, you didn't. And when you didn't have the money for a lawyer, you found the money by whatever means.
Oh.
Or the credit, or whatever.
Found the ways to pay. The way to pay. And I mean, that brings us to our last. I guess this kind of ends on a happy note.
Okay.
The last one? You want to go? I mean, we're already at like 47 minutes, so.
The title made me think that it could be a happy ending.
Well, yeah, and it involves my best friend. It involves Steve Broadway. And this was, it's how a music festival saved my life. I've never been what people would probably call totally level-headed. Not like Tank Abbott there. He's totally level-headed.
Yeah, him and Don Fry, I think, are just freaking trading in the phone booth there for a second.
God. Hulk smash back. Yeah, that's what that is. Anyway, back to me. Not exactly level-headed. So, and this takes place in Oklahoma and Kansas. And this was shortly after 9/11. So this was in like November of 2001. I'm living at Moore Manor Apartments. Things aren't going very well for me. I mean, I've got a job and things like that, but I ain't got no car. This is before I met Dolores, who was the first girl I dated when I moved to Moore. And I'd left a lot of the people up in like the Edmund Guthrie area that I was hanging around with and dating and partying, and I didn't really have much going on there. I had delivery food all the time. And Steve and Shannon, would invite me over all the time. They were very, very cool. But it's like, you don't want to constantly live at someone's house, especially when, their life is, an adult life and yours is a fucking mess.
Yeah, it's like a third world refugee in a first world country.
Something like that. It's more like I don't know.
I don't belong here. This is making me feel bad about myself.
Kinda, and they never did. They were always cool. But you sink into depression. I'm prone to fucking depression. And so, just drinking a lot, eating a lot. I hadn't started back working out. I hadn't started back running or lifting weights or anything like that. I was just going to work. And some days I just, I wouldn't go. And Steve was my ride to work. He'd swing by a little bit extra early. It wasn't too far out of his way. It was, it was like 150 yards out of his way, but still, he'd swing by. He's a good dude. And some days I say, I don't feel good, dude. And he was camping at his with his in-laws or something up in Kansas. And he sees this notification for a music festival. It's called the Walnut Valley Festival. I don't know. I got a sticker on my other guitar's case. If you ever feel it, fuck it, whatever. Anyway, it's called the Walnut Valley Festival, something like that, in Winfield, Kansas, I think. All right. Steve goes, "Oh, dude, we got to go." And I'm like, hey, "Yeah, sounds good." And I'm sinking, and I'm 1,000 miles from home. I don't know anybody anymore. I'm not, just completely being reckless anymore. I just gone through all that bullshit in Logan County with a couple of the cases that I caught up there. And so I'd moved and I was on probation and just really depressed. And wondering, did I make a mistake leaving California? Blah, blah, blah. Didn't really like my job, didn't like my life, didn't like anything. And I was like, fuck it. I don't like where this is going. I'm done. I'd already tried to kill myself before. And I either got interrupted or I fucked up, some reason, and not because I didn't want to die, but because I, was a fucking idiot, or did something wrong, or didn't take enough pills, or, the guy swerved. One night the guy swerved, and it's like, what the fuck, dude? I was wearing all black in the middle of the fucking road with no street lights. How the fuck did you see me? That's where that came from. That fucking knot.
The bump there?
Yeah, that knot. It was a rearview mirror caught that hand when he swerved. Anyway, back to Oklahoma. He says, "No, man, I'll get tickets." And he's all, and my aunt up there, she's got a pop up, and we'll cruise up there, and we'll get some cheap beer and some cheaper wine and some food, and bring our guitars. And at the time I knew how to play maybe a D chord, and it's a little bit better than the fact that I can definitely play a D chord now, but that's about it. Anyway, I go, yeah, and I'm shining them on because I don't want to fucking go. I'm kind of looking forward to flaking on him at the last minute, and then I was going to just off myself that weekend. He comes over that day because we'd taken the day off of work. He told me, he's like, let's go in and tell Vicky we need this day off and all that, and ask Carrie Dale if it's okay. And yeah. And I planned on, there'd be 4 days before anybody would find me, right? Because I was going to do it that night. And after I told him, I don't feel good. And so he comes over in the morning, after I told him I don't want to go. And he's like, "No, you got to go." And you've met Broadway. He's not, super intense guy. He's very laid back. He's very cool. He gets irritated, and it's like, oh, what the fuck is that shit? Plus, he's almost 7 feet tall, so it's like, hey.
Yeah, he's giant.
Yeah, it's like I know you're a laid back hippie and all that, but you're also half a freaking giant. So
He's a whole giant.
yeah, he's pretty much a whole giant, and so I reluctantly go, and I'm in a bad mood. We got to drive all the way up to fucking someplace. It was someplace I think it was Wichita. From Moore to Wichita, and we get to his aunt's place. We pick up the little camp, the little pop-up trailers,
Yeah.
right? We load that up. I'm still kind of being a bitch, and we get to the campsite, level everything up, load up, and I see the camper. We pop it up and all that, and we'd already gone to the store and bought a bunch of provisions, and I just planned on getting hammered drunk, and something happened. Met some real nice people that played music better then than I play now. Children, old people, it didn't matter. All walks of life. It was mainly a bluegrass festival, but they had people there playing all kinds of music, man, from punk to fucking whatever. There was one band that had a muffler, I think, as a bass.
Jeez.
Yeah, and they were actually pretty good, or something like that. Anyway, we get there, and Steve's got a bunch of his CDs that he had recorded, real nice shit, and was gonna give them out to people and all that. And it was the one with River of Debt and Dreams and all that, and some of his real good stuff, and it showcased his singing and all that and his songwriting. So he also had a big old American flag and this like whiteboard, and he wrote on there, if we don't say hi, ask for your free CD or something like that. All right. And so we named ourselves Hi Camp one day. Like, hello, like hi. And we would greet everybody that walked by us, because we were kind of on the main drag, with, how are you? Instead of hi,
Yes.
how, yeah. We'd say, how are you? Just sit there, and we talk to every cross section of people that there is, man. 18-year-olds that were rolling hard for like 2-3 days, to 60 and 70-year-old professional bluegrass musicians. I met a girl. We had a little bit of a love affair, and it was sweet. Didn't really carry over. I went to see her one more time in Kansas after that, but it wasn't the same. But for that weekend, we had a great time, and just enjoyed life, enjoyed living. And I had stopped thinking about killing myself at the end of day one, and started enjoying what life had to offer. And it was really nice. And
What are you looking for?
I'll show you in a minute. The best part was that, like I said, we met some really cool people. We had a great time. But ultimately, we came back, and first day back to work, everything felt like distant. everybody felt like a little depressed. And it wasn't like, you know, you come back from vacation and you're like, oh, you know, I don't want to be back at work. I was recharged for the first time in my life, feeling like that. And just everybody else around me, I was like, man, you need to let things go, man. Just, you need to mellow out. You need to get some perspective. It's not that bad. You know, they were bitching about everything from, oh, the metal's short on the job site, or the glass isn't here, or what the fuck ever. You know, it was just kind of banal. You know, it felt like white noise. And I remember coming back to work that first day back, and Kerry Dale, who was a president of the company I worked for, TGS at the time, he hadn't seen me since I got back. He didn't see me that morning. And he was like, hey, Michael, how'd it go? And I went, oh, we had such a groove. I don't know if Steve talked to you already, but, you know, the music was great. The people were amazing. You know, I wasn't really feeling that great when I went up there. But when I got there, everything just kind of changed. I met a girl. We listened to some music. We had a great time. He goes, oh, that's nice. How did it go on the job site today? And I was like, oh, it was fine. and you got to realize, Gary's probably one of the nicest people I've ever met in my entire life. He's just a good dude. And even he seemed a little like
on edge.
Yeah, and you know, he's running a $1 million company, and you know, this dealing with all the fallout that you have to because of 9/11 and just every other bullshit thing he has to deal with on a daily basis of running a company with a bunch of, you know, knuckleheads like he had working for him. But it was probably one of the defining moments in my life, and it's not a stretch to say that it saved my life, because I was just, and it wasn't even, you know, oh my God, you know, the world can't take me anymore. It wasn't like that when I had tried to off myself before. I was so low that I was like, this is just not worth doing anymore. And after that trip, never happened again. And we tried. Steve and I tried to go back, you know, the next year and the year after and all that, and nothing ever came of it. You know, it was always just something came up, or we couldn't go, or he couldn't go, or I couldn't go, or didn't have the money, or something. Just nothing ever worked out. But in the fall of 2001 in Winfield, Kansas, at the Walnut Valley Festival, I had a turning point. I wish everybody could have that. So, what is the moral of that story? What do you think? We've got dead air going on here, dude.
Well, it looks like you're searching for a photo.
Don't. What's the moral of the story, dude? Don't do that. You're distracting.
Okay.
So what's the moral of the story?
I don't know.
Okay.
To keep going, to do things even though you don't want to sometimes, because the outcome of doing it will make you have more of a desire to keep going. sometimes you can't see what's on the other side until you are on the other side.
I think that sounds perfect. There's the picture of us at High Camp. You can't see it. There's the sign. And there's me and Broadway. Yeah, I was thinner back then. So it was, that's the pop-up. That's Steve's old truck.
Nice. That's your flag?
That's his.
Oh, it's his flag.
But that's High Camp. Saved my life.
Sweet.
Okay. So I think that's kind of a good way to end. What do you think?
It sounds like as a good a point to stop as any.
All right. All right. This is part 6 of 6 in the whatever the hell this is. We hope you enjoyed listening. For Miles St. Ledger Franklin, I'm Michael Borge. And you're going to fuck it up. Don't even try.
See you later.
Don't even try.
See you
God,
later.
you are horrible. All right. Thanks, everybody. Love you. Hopefully see you soon. Say goodnight, Miles.
Good night.